If there was a character that I would say is severely underrated for his crimes against Stickmanity, I would confidently say that it's none other than Yellow. For a Stick that is equally curious as he is intelligent, Yellow is someone that has a strangely long track record of accidentally or intentionally causing both harm and inconvenience to his friends and reality as we know it, just because he thought that it would be funny. And today, it's time to finally put him on trial. Welcome to Character Audit of the Color Gang's most unhinged Stick, and where I show you all that just because you're logical and rational at times doesn't mean you're someone who's calm and restrained. It just means you know how to maximize your tomfoolery with unhinged efficiency. Fun fact, this entire spreadsheet is massive, and while I embellish stuff for humor, I really didn't think it would be this long. But Yellow, oh boy, you will be tried for your sins. We will be categorizing his shenanigans based on an arbitrary scale, depending on intent and magnitude. Yellow is for benign gremlin mode attitudes that don't necessarily mean harmful or mean. They're just funny because it showcases Yellow's more mischievous and curious sides. Red is for acts and projects that accidentally causes inconvenience to the color gang even if he didn't mean to. Inconvenience can involve stress or annoyance or even just interrupting what they're doing. Blue is for intentionally causing that inconvenience. Then we have orange for accidentally causing harm to the color gang, and green for intentionally causing harm to the color gang. This includes spars or creating projects that directly harm himself or others due to neglect, or just wanting to because why not? And last is purple for reality bending levels of feats. This also includes him changing or bending the rules of what is allowed by natural stick law. One entry can have multiple colors depending on the situation, and the jury finds that the defendant is guilty on grounds of the following evidence. In the original Minecraft episode, he moves at Mach 2 just to steal the Minecraft block from Blue. This is surprisingly the fastest he's ever moved in this series. He also breaks through the reality of Alan's computer with TNT after seeing a creeper blow it up. In episode 1, he almost makes the rash decision of pelting Red with a bunch of arrows, but it is justified after everything they've been through in the last episode. This attitude is actually pretty consistent throughout his personality if he sees someone is an active threat to his friends, even if it is his fellow Stickmen. In episode 2, he ignites Blue's TNT to bomb Green's winning build. In episode 3, he accidentally breaks through the reality of the PC and mines a hole straight into Alan's computer. Then, he panics and wonders how to fix this mistake. Normally, that's fine, until this curiosity absolutely escalates and he considers that maybe, just maybe, breaking the fabric of the universe is actually a good thing for science. He makes sure no one's paying attention before giving no cares anymore and just starts going down. This is going to be the second time that he breaks the boundaries of Alan's PC. Yellow's the kind of stick that if given even a modicum of innovation with the right dose of interest, would happily challenge reality as we know it just to see if it can work. And in this section, it was testing the laws of Minecraft's physics which absolutely fail him and the color gang. And of course, because his interest is piqued, he starts investigating. This gremlin introduces the rest of the color gang to his newly created obsession, and when Orange expresses hesitance, Yellow just grabs him and stops him from running away. Yellow will be charged of solicitation for forcing Orange to sit in the front of the cart. No mercy whatsoever. And he even pushes him down when Orange tries to stand up. Then we move on to the actual roller coaster, and we see that this isn't just your average track that he made. This is an entire RPG boss fight scene where Yellow gives them an unnecessary lava fake out just to scare them. Let's not think of the implications of his redstone malfunctioning here just yet. Then he just casually develops the track to decapitate them. This was such an unnecessarily hilarious way of scaring them, and that's going straight into the crimes list. Putting Orange in the front here is absolutely criminal. Putting half slabs too is also diabolical. Also, side tangent, but I love how in this scene, everyone is hiding with the front of the head except for Red, who just lays down in the cart. When the track ends, Yellow gives them a final goodbye and they all cheer for surviving and having fun. Until psych, it's the third scare tactic. And all of this culminates to Yellow's magnum opus, a massive arc that sends his friends flying to the finish line. Except he miscalculates the existence of Minecraft's physics not working like the real world and sending them all to their deaths. Congratulations! The winner is all of them. Yellow's relatively behaved with the note block episode and is more so affiliated with trouble rather than inherently causing it. His Redstone abilities automate Green's desired beat, so the two collaborate on it. The only exception to this is when he and the Color Gang decide that Orange wasn't going to get any sleep tonight because they started playing at 3 a.m. Then we move on to the episode where his crimes against Stickmanity continue. The episode Command Blocks opens with his usual chicanery of testing out things he shouldn't be testing out. And what's funnier is that he knows he's suspicious, which is why he's usually taking steps to make sure no one's watching. Yellow's curiosity leads him to breaking the actual toolbar and unlocking the dark mysteries of Minecraft, aka the command blocks. And of course, if one works, surely quadrupling the output won't lead to anything disastrous. His little pranks continue, with Red being his unknowing test subject. He lures Red in with some cake and for some reason just sends him up in the air. Of course, Red catches him in the act and eventually participating in it, but if he didn't interrupt, we see that Yellow was actually about to turn all of the cake that Red has into rotten flesh. Yellow's gremlin tendencies continue now with Red as his collaborator, and the two prove to be the prankster middle children of the group. Yellow creates an entire database with Red as his frontman, but this all goes horribly wrong because carefulness isn't Yellow's strongest suit. This entire debacle nearly eats them all alive by breaking reality as we know it, forcing a system reset. Congratulations, Yellow! You nearly killed all of them in a way that could have done permanent damage to their code. PvP is the next episode where Yellow takes a backseat and Green's the main instigator of conflict. His only crime here is that he's incredibly fast in counter-instigating PvP and has decided that Blue for some reason was a worthy opponent. Peace is never an option to Yellow as long as there's a first hit. Yellow's also not opposed to porcupining his allies with arrows. On a side note though, I find it really cute that Yellow's always looking out for Orange even in future episodes. His next gremlin behavior leads to the tail end of Season 1. After finally reuniting with Blue and Green, he notices a bunch of nether portals and decides that today is the day of adventure. Blue and Red are completely on board with the idea and the three of them don't even question the safety of the situation. Now, the events of Skyblock are definitely not under his control, but I just find it forever funny how little he regards overall safety if it means executing a plan. This is about to be something that he'll learn the hard way he should temper. In Cave Spider Rollercoaster, he jumps into the minecart and accidentally stomps or sits in Green's face. Redstone Academy is his next semi-feature, which revolves around Redstone machinations. This is also the episode that showcases one important quality of his. Much like Green, he enjoys the art of showcasing his talents to other people. If Green can have grand videos and events, Yellow has his inventions. Both of them play into the idea of involving others, not only because it's their expertise, but also because they want others to partake in hobbies that they personally find enjoyable. The funniest part about this episode, though, is how Yellow plays the mean teacher. He throws the apple at Red's desk and uses the stick as both a teaching and threatening tool. I love how he's very insistent that the Color Gang pay very close attention to what he's doing and has to tell them to write down everything thrice. But you know what is diabolical? Not only making a hole through Alan's PC again, but also sending them all falling without anything cushioning them. Yellow is a master of pranks that may or may not result in someone having a broken leg, or a face for that matter. He also set up the modules in a way that can only be accessed by standing right in front of the thing that moves. But my favorite one is definitely him just staring at Orange and Green, who are both so excited in the thought of winning. On one hand, it's very much possible that he did this just to spite both of them, given their trio being the kings of competition, and it's mildly satisfying to see them lose as a joke. But I do think that Yellow just genuinely found Red's invention impressive, because it is. It's a pretty practical one. Plus, the other two kind of were rehashes of each other. That being said, him doing this just to spite Orange and Green isn't out of the picture completely. In No Block Battle, we get a continuation of that where he's just chilling and unknowingly interrupting Green's music session, much to his detriment. Yellow does, once again, also partake in annoying Orange. Yellow's next major crime against a fellow Stick is in Build Battle, where he instigated destruction of property, yet again, towards Green. Even if it didn't work, it doesn't mean he didn't attempt a crime. And you can also put the fact that Yellow was conspiring with Orange to bring Green down, by targeting Yellow's specialty. What I find kind of hilarious about his attitude towards the battle is that he's not even just here to win, which is why he was happy when Blue wins. Texture Pack is the next episode where the list of audits continue and Yellow is surprisingly at his most gremlin behavior, significantly beating Rollercoaster and Command Blocks. First, he decides that he was going to make it everyone else's problem by playing around with the texture packs. I don't even know what he's trying to accomplish here, but it's also a little cute to think that he's just throwing pictures around to see what happens and if something explodes. This is the episode that really magnifies how much of a menace Yellow is willing to be if he just finds something mildly entertaining. He shuts Red down by scrolling, and even when he's trying to get away, he's still changing textures around to the point that Red needs to physically stop him. When he fixes Red's parrots and Red's ready to call it a night, Yellow triples down and convinces Red to join him. They get carried away with playing with the texture packs to the point of absolutely ruining everything inside the house. This scene proves that both of them without any inhibitors are threats to normalcy. It's even more insane that instead of trying to sort them back like the first time, Yellow decides that replacing every block is much easier. Now here's a bit of a conspiracy. I think this was completely intentional. That they wanted to see what would happen if they made everything the opposite blocks. It doesn't fix the problem, but it does make everything interesting, something that wouldn't be out of Yellow's modus operandi. I also love the little smiley face that he has on his furnace. The situation escalates as Red tries to barricade all of them without any success, considering the second coming is about to murder both of them. Instead of actually doing anything practical about the situation, Yellow quadruples down and decides that pranking 3 of the most emotionally volatile sticks in the group when it comes to anger and stress is the smartest thing to do on Sunday, June 14, 2020. You can see him trying to keep his laughter in while the 3 scramble. They all start fighting each other as they usually do until Yellow quintuples down and bombs everything out of genuine desperation. I don't know what he was trying to do here, but we can put him down as crimes against nature. Because after this event, everyone just decides that enough was enough. In Lucky Blocks, Yellow continues his streak of messing with powers he shouldn't be messing with by opening up the Lucky Block and entering a new dimension. And the first thing he has when he sees a volatile glowing orb thing in the middle of an abandoned shrine is to grab it and start playing with it. This leads to him and everyone else getting possessed by the Lucky Block orb. I'm considering this as Yellow Stop Playing with the Universe Part 4. Though it is really cute that his first reaction to finding new things is always to share it with his friends. And that he knows exactly what kind of things they would want. Sure, he's competitive, but he also has a very charitable heart when it comes to having fun. Okay, so now we move on to Season 3. This is where Yellow's crimes against humanity subside because they're overshadowed by actual criminals. That and the stakes of the season are much more concrete. Gone are the slapstick humor episodes and in comes tangible danger. This is also exacerbated by the fact that they're no longer fighting just each other or Minecraft, they're also fighting other sticks that can equally bend the rules of the game as they can. This season expanded a lot of the stick's characterizations. Green for his empathy, red for his ingenuity, blue for his leadership, and orange for his patience. In turn, Yellow's attitudes in the previous 2 seasons are given a bigger expansion and depth. They're no longer one-dimensional character traits, but they're character catalysts. Which is why I won't be using the legend for this one, because this season takes on a more serious atmosphere. Instead, I want to give respect to Yellow's character analysis in this section. Yellow's actually much more subdued in this season. This is an expansion of how much he prioritizes his friends' happiness and safety, charging into the Nether portal to find Blue with Red as their guide. However, his more curious tendencies and the want to actually go on adventures with his friends are exactly what Purple also capitalized on to trick them into going into the parkour. We see that Yellow expresses empathy for abandoning Purple after Orange tells them that this is dangerous. He only leaves when he notices that Blue and Green are already following. But when Red stops him to tell him that Purple was genuinely upset, Yellow was very easy to convince and the first one to accept and eagerly follow along. This shows that both he and Red are the most impressionable of the bunch. Give them an ounce of a go signal and they'll follow along. We also see another side to Yellow's experimental tendencies. If he thinks it's safe regardless of actual safety, he tends to be clumsier. When Red first tries the parkour without knowing that they could respawn, he is much more careful and slower. But Yellow follows with mismatched confidence, which leads him to his fall. Yellow is a menace anytime there's a concept of a friendly competition he's participating in, and that absolutely bleeds into his winning tactics. He breaks the parkour by going up, and he's very bitter whenever someone else wins. He resorts to the next kind of stupidity, cheating, and PvPing by any means necessary. The only time he's actually clapping for the others is when Blue wins. This is an extension to his previous characterizations where he values praise and being seen. If I were to wager a guess, Yellow relishes in the idea of importance and involvement. He wants to be good enough for people and to involve them in his wants, and vice versa. He wants to also be invested in what other people like, which in turn also makes them like him by association. The reverse is also true. Tendencies like this can bleed into unwarranted competitiveness. But this is something that I want to explore another time in a more serious note, because I do think there's something very telling here. But then we continue to the serious part of parkour, where Yellow's knack for experimenting is what gets him out. He remembers the perpetual teleportation through the beakers and successfully recodes the command block. Yellow's ingenuity, compared to Orange and Red's way out of breaking, is very similar to how you analyze processes and logic. Rather than creating a new set of elements, you manipulate and change the current way existing elements interact with each other. This is a character trait that will be very important in the future part of the series because a lot of Yellow's problem-solving skills rely on observing patterns of movement from his enemies. This kind of thinking is what he does to propose to Blue to try and create distance by making another portal. Of course, that doesn't work because they're all just spawn camping them and they try again. Yellow gets the hint the second time and stops Blue from running in, guns a-blazing. Yellow might not be a careful stick the first time, but he'll be damned if he'll let that thing happen to him twice. We see that side of him that he enjoys optimizing systems again when he notices that food was the best way to attract the Ravager and when he optimizes Blue's farming strategy. In its own way, I enjoyed that this episodes combine both of their strong suits, not just farming and redstone, but also with Blue when it comes to leading massive groups of mobs, and Yellow when it comes to problem solving. Blue optimizes the people, Yellow optimizes the workflow. You know, just like a small-sized company. However, his excitement and somewhat power-hungry tendencies for the sake of morbid knowledge is what endangers them during the king's arrival in the village. Yellow is absolutely mesmerized by the command block and the sheer power of the king's immediate deletion of the Titan Ravagers. To be fair to Yellow though, this also shows another side to him. As long as an individual is credible and shows no will against him, he's very willing to follow them. King did technically save them during this instance, and in that kind of situation, Yellow has no real logical reason to doubt King. Well, nothing that he can think of. Because unlike Blue, Yellow's the kind of character that relies on rationalization to determine behavioral patterns. Purple is bad and betrayed them after being given a second chance, therefore Green shouldn't go after them. The king saved them and is powerful, therefore he should be good. Purple is sad and upset and therefore is no longer a threat and maybe needs someone to talk to. The creature is attacking the food, therefore maybe hunger is a great way of luring it out. The Titan Ravager's family was killed, so the enemy of my enemy is probably my friend. We also see that this is how we pacifize the other sticks in a way. Maybe if I let them all win, they won't kill each other, hopefully. Maybe if I force Orange to join, everyone else will. Red thinks that Purple is sad, and that means we should comfort Purple and join his game. Now, this can sound a little bad, but I assure you, this kind of A then B thinking is a really great way of creating friendships and relationships. This mirrors a lot of normal psychological patterns that humans establish prematurely, because emotional investment has too much risk. Therefore, logically assuming things may seem shallow, but it's well-meaning. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and it just shows that Yellow has an amazing heart of gold. But the problem is that it can make Yellow accidentally miss the nuances of a situation. This is also the case with the Glitch Green in the Influencer arc, where he attacks after Orange and Green are hurt, even if the Glitch Green really didn't mean it. Overall, Season 3 was a great look into Yellow's intuitive but somewhat immature way of looking at power and success as benchmarks. But back to the character audit. His gremlin behaviors are only enabled further by the staff, and he's here to make sure that everyone gets a piece of the pie. Just like how he always was, Yellow isn't the kind to hide treasures behind his back, if it means that everyone gets to enjoy their time together. The ultimate minecart race is an extension of his love for creating competitions for his friends, and his knack for building cool things that his friends can partake in. So this is hardly his fault. None of the crimes against Stickmanity in this episode are his fault. Poor Yellow just wanted to have a really fun game. But you want to know who I will be charging this episode? Blue and Green. Anyway, Lucky Block staff is also one of the rare times in the series that Yellow actually reconsiders the consequences of science gone too far. Actually, the only time that I can remember. And it's Red that steals his staff. Going back to what I said, it's the difference between instinctive danger sense and self-preservation versus already understanding the pattern of danger. Instinctive danger sense is when nothing bad has technically happened, but you're still worried that it can happen based on what the new situation presents. while understanding the pattern of danger is recognizing that this bad thing has already happened before and I don't want it to happen again. For pattern recognizers like Yellow, this is the best way to describe his standard of limitation. If nothing bad has happened yet, surely that's enough to consider that maybe it's a good thing, until it's not. Yellow has no crimes during this episode except for 2 scenes. He deliberately swings into Green during the intro sequence, knocking him over and killing his goat. Second, he indulges in Green's antics by enchanting an unwilling bystander that honestly wasn't even participating in the fight. He was just there. You can see Yellow laugh during this scene. He willingly provided the staff again to Red after Red just almost summoned an Eldritch Chaos God, and he gave the staff to Green, who went a little crazy with it. Nothing that was his fault, of course. In the chef, though, he will be charged of trespassing a chef's home and attempted robbery along with the rest of his friends. He also doesn't help Orange row the boat whatsoever here, setting up the next precedence that Yellow loves accidentally causing inconveniences for Orange. I also find it interesting that his reactions to panic differ depending if he's in danger or if his friends are in danger. This is what I like to call stress redirection. People react differently to stress depending on the magnitude of a situation, the catalysts in the situation, and how many people are with you. This is why some people can handle stress better alone, and why others have to turn to other means of relief. For Yellow, it's the direction of stress. Was he the one that caused the situation, and is he the only one that's panicking? If there are more people around him that are stressed in a situation, he's calmer. This usually happens in rationalizing type of people, where other people are the ones that take the brunt of the emotional response. Usually Blue. Someone else is being the catalyst of the grief or the anger. It doesn't mean that you don't feel it, but it simply means that you have someone to project the emotions with, making it much easier to process and to understand. The more people that share the grief, the realer that it feels. The best way to exemplify this is an influencer arc, where Blue and Orange take the biggest emotional brunt of it and Yellow follows along. Not because he doesn't care or has no opinions of his own, but because he already saw his own emotions projected through Orange's rage or Blue's quietly pissed off resignation. But when he's confronted by stress directly, say Texture Pack, Ultimate Minecart Race, and AVA 12, and even the Chef and Titan Ravager, Yellow tends to shut down and get messy. Because Yellow is directly involved, caused, or doesn't have the same amount of catalysts, he starts panicking. Even worse is if he's the one that's actively getting targeted. Yellow tends to panic a lot more and lose that sense of rationality. Moving on to AVE 37. The recent episode will have him charged of misuse of OP hacks. To be fair though, I do want to give Yellow and the Color Gang some credit. You'd think that even Orange or Green would at least be a little hesitant to use the command block this frequently, but after thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense why they're equally eager. The Sticks like seeing cool stuff. And for once, the command block is actually being used in their favor. In their eyes, this is as ethical as it can possibly be. Yellow is also very generous with how he uses it. He only uses it for his personal gain when that gain is adjacent to his friend's happiness. Yellow doesn't gloat about having it. He's just maximizing the potential amount of quote-unquote fun that his friends could have. To us, yes, we sympathize with Purple getting bored that Yellow's overusing the staff, but it's not actually out of malice. I do want to point out a misconception. As far as we are concerned, this plague has already been here before Yellow had the command block staff, and it wasn't caused by him using it. Some people think that Yellow's actions were what hurt them, but it was more so that there's an external environmental glitch, which we've already seen before, that erased the staff completely, or the staff negatively reacted to it. We know this because the effect has been hinted at in Season 3. What I will be calling out though is how many times Yellow actually tries to touch literal reality-bending breaking things because he can't keep his hands to himself. Alright, then we move on to the shorts. And this is where we bring out the colors again because Yellow, you have a lot of explaining to do. When he became Pac-Man, he started running at his friends and even ran faster when they started bolting for it. When they were group chatting, albeit not really Yellow's fault, Blue gets annoyed at all of the notifications. He participates in the murder of several green pigs and gets crushed by an entire ton of metal. He teaches a dog how to play Minecraft. He discovers and commits identity theft. He just casually hurts Red here for trying to talk to Purple without any remorse. He accidentally nearly kills Blue and himself with a war criminal-worthy weapon and has intent of creating another one had Blue not actually stopped him. He accidentally messes up Alan's budgeting sheet. He accidentally drops everyone during the Sticktron, but to be fair, that wasn't really his fault. He nearly causes another world-ending apocalypse by splashing a potion of awakening on a command block to the point that he had to be tackled by everyone. He accidentally falls on top of Orange during Wipeout. He accidentally gets Orange eaten by Kirby, and I love how he forced Orange to pay attention. He not so accidentally shoots Green in the chest. He accidentally freezes Orange with his enchanted Frostwalker boots. He not so accidentally buries Green and Orange in the snow with a catapult during a snow fight. He capitalizes on Blue's netherwart addiction to win a race. He accidentally bombs all of them with a very normal looking fish that he found. His idea to stack a bunch of slime blocks together causes all of them to get trapped inside because of their jump pressure piercing through the surface. He pranks Alan by making Green a massive background, and he wholesomely befriends a ghast. In the Animation vs. Animator series, he's pretty tame, except if you consider the fact that he just casually hacked someone's computer, summoned literal god into their mortal realm, and was caught trespassing private property for his friend. To be fair, those were all done in self-defense. But all in all, Yellow is an extremely fun and chaotic character that definitely deserves a lot more love. Even though he doesn't shine that much in solo fight scenes compared to his cooler colored counterparts, I want to give him so much more credit for how consistently ingenious and funny his creations are during the series. His narrative importance usually comes with him problem solving, or him making the problems. Personally for me, Yellow is definitely in my top 3. Anyway, I'm Mushi and this has been a character analysis of the Color Gang's most unhinged stick, and the consensus is that Yellow is very guilty of being a literal threat to normalcy and anything remotely stable in reality. Thank you for watching!